Great to be here. I'm going to give you an overview of 7 months of work in 5 minutes, so hold on to your seats. Before I get started, I want to give a call out to some colleagues from the city of Boulder who are here with me, Patrick, Amanda, and Liz around. It's been great being here, part of the conference. Also, our good friends from Raleigh Software, the Brigade for Boulder, and our senior fellow, Becky Boone, who've been part of the journey. So Boulder, Colorado. City of 100,000 people in foothills of the Rocky Mountains, home of the University of Colorado. Go Buffs. And a highly engaged community with high expectations for shaping the future of their city. They started 50 years ago buying the land around the city. We're now a 25 square mile city with 70 square miles of open space around us that encircle us in a beautiful green belt, but also creates challenges as we face the future and think about issues like affordability. We have a community that expects to be participating in the conversations about our future. We've done all sorts of things. We've pushed the envelope. We've partnered with artists to do installations in the park. We've partnered with the University of Colorado to facilitate youth engagement. We set up in front of grocery stores with pop-up displays. And then we've been moving into the digital realm of having our Twitter feeds and our Facebook pages and our mind mixer sites to facilitate participation, give input to the important processes we have going on. And yet in local government, we often wonder, we're sort of looking to the crystal ball. We're hearing from the 100 people or the 1,000 people or the 5,000 people who feel strongly about an issue, but there's still the 95,000 people we're not hearing from. And what do they think, the whole silent majority? How do we create avenues for them to participate in ways that are both meaningful and accessible to them? We have a very contentious conversation going on around growth and development, not unlike places like San Francisco, where we're this challenge of creating affordability and accommodating change and providing new housing opportunities for our workforce, coupled with this sense of loss that we're losing sort of the heart and soul of the community we are and the small town feel. So how do we engage our community in figuring out the right path ahead on an issue like housing? We knew we needed a crack team. So we partnered with Code for America to bring this engagement standard into practice in Boulder and test some new tools that we might use to broaden the conversation and bring people in. I'm just going to talk 3 aspects of that engagement standard. The first is related to reach. So the question of who are we not hearing from, and what are the ways in which we might reach out to those people and create an opportunity for them to be part of this conversation. Very simple example, we used Periscope this last year, sort of coupled it on to outreach that we were already doing. So we had 200 people downtown in a church talking about housing face to face, and we were able to then live stream that via Periscope to people on their mobile devices. But not only were they able to watch, they were able to, when we were doing the clicker technology in the room, posing questions, they were able to respond to those questions as well. So a meeting of 200 people became a meeting of 800 people. And most importantly, based on those clicker responses, we know the demographics of the people who were tuning in, and that whole group of 800 people together was much more representative of our community as a whole than if it were just been the 200 people in the room. Information, when we do something like housing, we hire consultants, we do 200, 300-page reports, market analysis, we have all sorts of reams of data, and in a community like Boulder, a lot of people in our community want to read every single page. But then a lot of people have about 30 seconds and they need to get some sense of what this issue is before they start weighing in. So how do we challenge ourselves to improve our delivery of information, able to use web analytics and bring in some design folks to think about our project website, make it a much more user-friendly interface, also a portal into participating, and has many layers to it, so you can do the 30-second version or the 30-hour version of the housing market analysis based on what your preference is. And then this issue of feedback loops was really something that we talked a lot about and that we need to really challenge ourselves on. How do we communicate to people that their input is mattering, that it's making a difference? And also, how do we know in better real time whether the process is working? Are we reaching people? Do they feel like this is a worthwhile use of their time? We used a number of different tools. Texason was talked about earlier. The clicker technology, having regular email updates that went out to people who signed up on the website, telling them not only what's coming up and how they can engage, but what's happened and how did that input that we've received shape some of the things that we're doing. And then simple things like sticky notes on the way out of the room. Was tonight a good use of your time? How could we have done it better that would have made it more meaningful? All of this is available online. And a toolkit that Code for America has put together. We're going to be applying in other projects and continuing to grow that toolkit to have transparent, inclusive participation. I'm going to close with just 3 points, though, that I think are really important to keep in mind. Catherine referenced a bit of a controversy in our participatory process this last year in our partnership with Code for America that played out in the front page of our local paper and generated thousands of emails into city council and staff. People felt that we were replacing the participation of those who were in the room with the participation of people plugging in online. So how do we make sure, as we bring in new tools, that we're creating a bigger tent, not replacing an old tent? That people feel that when they come down and they participate face-to-face, that participation matters just as much as the participation of people who are plugging in online. And this gets into something that I think is really important. That we talk a lot about sort of the two-way, government to the people and the people to the government. Well, on a contentious issue like affordable housing and the future of our community, this needs to be a conversation between the people in our community. So how do we create not multiple dialogues, one that's online on the MindMixer site and one that's in the room at the church, but an integrated conversation that people are talking to each other and perhaps most importantly, listening to each other. And that's challenging. And that gets to the last point, is this stuff isn't easy. It's really messy. Democracy is complicated. There is a lot of contention. The people sometimes don't like each other, and they don't agree with each other. And we need to persevere through hard times, and that's where I really want to thank Catherine and Jen and Luke, who really stuck through us through some pretty challenging weeks and months this last year. It strengthened our partnership, and we're really looking forward to partnering with them and the Brigade for Boulder and others in our community to create stronger platforms, because delivering on democracy is really at the core of being a sustainable and equitable community into the future, and we're looking forward to continuing our partnership going forward. Thank you very much.